Okay, so this is everything you will need. I've got strawberries, a lemon, vanilla essence, double cream, soft cheese, mascarpone, butter, sugar, and then lotus biscuits. These just go so nicely with the cream cheese from the cheesecake and everything. It's just absolutely delicious. So I always go for these rather than a digestive base. It just adds that extra something. But obviously feel free to use whatever biscuits you want, and obviously you can use different fruit for the topping as well. I've also just got a big tin here with the clip on the side. That will just make it easier to release the cheesecake, but otherwise it does make a really nice big portion of it. I'm just going to start off by weighing out 200 grams of biscuits. You can use any biscuit, but I choose the lotus biscuit because it's my favourite. It adds a really nice taste for cheesecake. And then I'm just going to smash all these up with a rolling pin. Because that is all crushed up. It's quite fun. There's a few bigger bits in there. You could probably get a quicker and better result with a food processor, but I don't have one of those, so I just go the old-fashioned way. Bash a couple of biscuits. Next, I'm taking 75 grams of butter. It does say unsalted, but this one's just slightly salted. And then I am just going to go and brown this on the hob. Basically just melting it down until it turns a brown colour. It's making it so it just has a bit more of a taste, and it'll add more of a taste to the biscuit base as well, which I really like. As you can see, on the left is just the melted butter, and then on the right as well, I've browned it. I've just left it on the heat for a little bit longer, and it just has gone darker in colour, and it's gone kind of foamy. And I'm just going to pour this over the biscuit mixture. And then I'm just going to give it a stir to make sure it's all fully covered. The melted butter helps keep the base together, especially once it goes into the fridge and it'll just have a chance to set. It'll just make it really sit nicely together. Now that's fully coated, I'm just going to put it into my tin here. And then I'm just going around and pushing it all down so it's nice and compact. That will help it stick better together too. That's why you want it to be quite finely bashed up as well, because the big pieces won't stick together so well, but it does add a nice amount of texture. Just making sure it's really pushed down, nice and even, no gaps between anything. This is quite a thin base. I think last time I did it, I must have used more biscuit mixture on the bottom. But this is enough to cover this, and also the cream cheese and everything makes up such a big amount that you kind of need a bigger tin to put it in, because otherwise you'll end up with like loads. You probably make mini ones of this or something, or make 2 smaller ones. But I tend to just do the big one. It's easier just to leave it all in one place. Now it's all pushed down, I'm going to put it into the fridge, and then I'll leave it there while I make the rest of the cream and everything. And then once it's set, I'll put the cream on top. Next, I'm taking 300 grams of mascarpone cheese, 300 grams of soft cheese, and 125 grams of sugar. I'm just going to whisk them together. Looks so gross. It does end up being tasty, trust me, okay? Okay, and then the 125 grams of sugar. And then I'm just going to mix this all together. Probably will get a bigger spoon in a minute, but just to give it a good mix first. Now to the cream cheese and mascarpone mixture, I am going to zest a lemon. I haven't got a zester, so I'm just using a fine cheese grater. And this really just pulls together the flavours, especially once you add like the strawberries or the fruit on top. The lemon really just comes through. Lemon and lime are some of my favourite flavours, and I really like adding them to baking. It just really adds to such a nice flavour and just brings everything together. And especially if there's going to be a lot of sweetness in here, we kind of want to balance it out with the citrus flavours. By zesting, I'm literally just taking off the outside rind. It just had such a really nice flavour. It has really nice like lemon oils and everything in it. It has a really nice flavour. You only really need the outside bit, so if you have too much, it can get quite bitter. You can always save the rest of the lemon to put into drinks and everything, just cut up, or you can cut it up to like squeeze over the top of dishes and stuff. So it isn't always a waste. You can save it and use it for something later. So my 300 millilitres of cream, and I'm just going to whisk it using an electric whisk. So it looks thick enough there. I'm just going to get rid of these, and then I'll add some vanilla in there. Now the recipe calls for vanilla pods, but I'm not that sort of person, you know. So I've just gone for this. It's just a basic vanilla essence. I guess it does taste so much better with actual real vanilla in there, but this is what I'm going for today. Just a little bit in there. Probably a bit too much, but people just have to deal with it, won't they? They'll eat either way. But I'm just going to add it bit by bit to my cream cheese mixture. Probably would help if I did use some sort of like proper utensils, but I'm just using a spoon because it's one less thing for me to wash up, and it's easier for you to put in my mouth afterwards. That's the best part of baking, is just testing it and trying it along the way. Obviously, I don't double dip, and I always wash my hands and get a new spoon and stuff, so don't come at me for that. But it's also like adapting the recipe and like testing it to see whether it needs a bit more vanilla, whether it needs a bit more like sweetness or something in there. Just most of baking is testing it out for yourself. Even if you keep to the same recipe, you've obviously tested it and you've eaten it at the end to know that it's a good recipe to continue doing. There's always room to adapt recipes in baking and really make it your own. Sure, like a lot of websites will give you a recipe to follow, and that is good because it gives you the measurements and the basics of it all, but you can really tweak, especially with the cheesecake, you can really tweak the flavours to make it into something you like. Like if you're not keen on lemon or strawberries, you can go ahead and probably put some chocolate in here if you want to make a chocolate one, or like some salted caramel or something. Cheesecake is just a really nice base for a lot of flavours, so it really gives you a chance to be creative with it. But since I found this recipe, I really like it. This is one of the best things I've ever made. So I tend to stick to the simplicity of the strawberry cheesecake, just because it really is a favourite in my house as well. I did make a salted caramel one before, but I made the mistake of putting salted caramel like essence in there, or like flavouring, rather than just going with it, and it did make it taste a bit like sweetery and fake, so I tend to just stick to it where it's nice and fresh flavours of the strawberries. Okay, and that's what it looks like when it's done. It's all folded in, it's nice and thick. It will hold its shape once it sets in the fridge. I'm just going to put the bowl into the fridge for a little bit first, just while the biscuit base finishes setting, because I want to make sure that everything's layered nicely. The biscuit base otherwise won't really get a chance to set properly.
And now let's play a game of how many different ways can I cut up a strawberry? Basically, I just went in and cut up every single one of these 400 grams of strawberry in a completely different way, because don't ask me what I'm doing. It got to the end of me doing my cheesecake and I basically just wanted loads of strawberries on top of it. So I chopped them up roughly, a few different shapes and sizes and everything, but then I put it in with a spoonful of sugar just to really help bring out the juices in the strawberries, and then I go ahead and leave it to one side and then put it onto my cheesecake once I start assembling everything. And now it's time to start putting everything together. So I've just taken my biscuit base out of the fridge, and then I'm just putting my cream cheese filling on top of it and just emptying it all in, and then I spread it out so I make sure it touches all of the sides and even thickness. And then I go and put my strawberries all over the top. They did get a bit watery, but I think so they're quite mushy strawberries. But otherwise I put them on and just spread it all over the top, and then pop it back into the fridge for 4 hours roughly.
So this is it, my finished cheesecake. I'm really happy with it. It looks so cute. There's enough biscuit base and everything on the bottom, enough the cream, and the strawberries on top look absolutely delicious too. So I'm about to call everybody to see if they want a slice of the cheesecake. Who wants cheesecake?
You betcha! In Ruby!
Please enjoy me posing with my cheesecake and then my cheesecake posing for you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you make this cheesecake for yourself because it's absolutely delicious. All my family members absolutely love it and they love me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!